everyone, welcome back to True Crime Buzz. I'm your host Amber, and with me as always is Brittany.
Hello. Made that sound like a question. Hello.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
What you drinking over there?
I'm drinking a Diet Sam's Cola because they were in stock.
Well, thank God for small miracles.
Praise Bailey Sarian.
Can you believe it's our last episode of the year?
No.
It is.
God.
Closing out 2021 with a bang.
Look, I know 2021 has had its challenges, but it's kind of been my year. I've had a lot of really wonderful things happen this year.
I was going to say, it's been a good year for me too. I mean, COVID aside.
Yeah. I mean, COVID is awful, but it's no different than 2020, you know? That was the worst.
That was the worst for everybody.
2021 has been better, and don't come for me, but I hope the next year's even better for all of our listeners and family and friends.
That is my Christmas wish this year.
Oh my gosh. I feel like you're going to bust out into that song, Christmas Shoes, or whatever it is, that sad-ass song.
Christmas shoes?
You know, about the little boy that goes and buys his mom shoes because she's going to die, and he wants her to have nice shoes for heaven.
The fuck kind of song is that?
It is literally on the radio, probably right now, because Christmas music is playing on the radio. You've never heard that?
It's not ringing a bell in my noggin, so...
I will send it to you.
Maybe I only listen to Christmas songs full of joy and happiness.
It's not like I want to listen to it.
Was this like an emo song?
No, it's like, I don't know who sings it. I want to say like Kenny Loggins, but maybe that's not.
You know what? I gotta look it up. My mind is like not comprehending. Christmas song.
No, it's called Christmas Shoes. I swear that's the name of it. How have you never heard this fucking song?
This is straight from the 90s, apparently.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of this song in my life.
Okay, I don't understand that.
Mariah Carey would not like that very much.
Probably not, no.
Well, you know what? Mariah Carey did come out in the 90s, like, with all of her Christmassiness. So maybe she heard this song and was like, oh, hell no, Christmas is a happy time. Thank God for Mariah Carey.
Yep.
All right, anyways. I didn't even say what I was drinking.
Yeah, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking that Catawba beer.
Catawba. Shout out to my cousin Brittany, who called Catawba Catawba.
I'm drinking the Catawba Brown Bear Brown Ale. It's my favorite.
Brown bear, what do you see?
All right, well, do you have any personal true crimes this week?
Oh, my gracious. Let's see.
I mean, it's the holiday season, so there's gotta be one.
Yes, I do have a fucking true crime.
We went from 0 to 60 real fast. What is it?
Yep, we did. I can't speak really about it, but I can tell you that the real true crime is the first episode of And Just Like That, the Sex and the City reboot. That's a true crime. Amber has not watched it, so I can't ruin it for her, but...
I haven't watched it yet. I didn't know it was out, so that was my bad. But as soon as we finish recording, I'm going to watch it.
You know, is all I've got to say about that.
Well, I'm not looking forward to it now, but I'm
still
going to
good.
watch it.
It's so good. Like, it's so good. I'm here for the show. I'm already, like, pumped. But that first episode... Anyways, what's your personal true crime?
Well, mine is probably really boring for you and some of our listeners, but it was a legit personal true crime for me. I'm a Georgia Bulldogs fan, and they were undefeated until they played Alabama, and they lost. So I was very upset for a while, but it's not that bad of a true crime because they're still in the runnings for the championship.
Okay.
So not all hope is lost yet, but...
It was a sad game for you, wasn't it?
Alabama. It's like, it was a good game. It was just, I really can't stand them, and fuck you, Nick Saban. Anyways.
And now you guys have learned. One of us is an avid sports fan, the other is not.
He's won so many games. He's won so many championships. He has so many fucking rings on his hand, but it's not over yet. It's not over yet.
I did try to console you.
Oh, you did. You did.
I tried to be a good
And shout out to my dad, who did the best part of consoling me after my Bulldogs lose, is by just not talking to me for about a week. He finally called me today and was like, hey, how you doing?
Oh, bless him.
He knows. He knows. But anyways,
let's
get on to part 2 of the Port Arthur Massacre, because sometimes we record these episodes back to back.
Like all one whole big shebang, yeah.
And then just put it out in separate parts so that, you're not on here listening to us for like 3 hours. But I had to wait just like y'all did. So I'm ready to hear this. I really want to see where this goes. I know it ends in death, obviously, but like the details and like, is he in jail? Is he alive? Is he...
You know nothing.
I know nothing.
Okay. Well, welcome back to part 2 of this wild and tragic story about Martin Bryant. When we left off, Maurice, Martin's father, had sadly taken his own life.
I know.
Poor Maurice, man. Ugh.
It was so sad because he, like we said, he tried. He really tried.
He did. And when I re-listened to our episode, when it came out, I always listen to it. I give us that listen and I cried. Marco Polo'd Amber and was like, I just made myself cry listening to that. But it was sad. Like,
it was really sad.
Even though I knew it was coming.
Hard to edit because it was sad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I have a feeling it's going to get even more sad. So.
It is. So we're picking up right where we left off. Poor Martin had recently lost his only best friend, Helen, and now he had lost his protector and the man who loved him unconditionally, his dad. It's safe to say that Martin felt alone and was an emotional mess. His former teacher, Stella Sampson, said, quote, "My personal view is that his dad kept him in check, and when he died, he didn't have that restraining influence any longer," end quote. And he didn't, Maurice kept, anytime he would get mad, he could calm him down. He could prevent him from getting upset,
Well, and like we said in the last episode, there wasn't a whole lot about Carlene.
Right.
In the picture. Did you ever find out if
I never found anything else out. I mean, she's given some interviews and stuff, but I got the feeling that while she loved her son, that really Maurice did the bulk of keeping an eye on Martin and, keeping him in line. But I'm sure she loved him very much. So, after his father's death, Martin took to dressing up in suits and going to cafes for lunch, and he carried with him a briefcase, and he would tell people that he had an important job making $400 a week.
Martin did that?
Yeah.
Just to try to keep up appearances and be like, I still have a purpose in life?
Yeah. One of the restaurants that he went to on a regular was in North Hobart, and the owner, Chris Jackman, said, quote, "It was horrible. Everyone was laughing at him, even the customers. I really felt suddenly sorry for him. I realized this guy didn't have any friends. He was like a child trying to impress everybody. He struck me as a very eager sort of young guy, like a Labrador puppy, always having something to say, always trying to impress," end quote.
Well, that's pitiful.
It's pitiful because, he was trying to seem important and try to get people to like him, because Martin Bryant could really be summed up to this point of his life of just wanting a friend and just wanting people to like him, Yeah. And him being so different and so eccentric, and he has these struggles, and, he's off-putting to people. And
now he doesn't have the people who can kind of shelter him and
right.
Oh, I'll hang out with you, buddy.
Yeah.
Apparently there weren't any other people in the town that were willing to fill that spot.
Correct. And that's sad. From December 1993 to 1995, with all his newfound wealth from, Helen and his dad passing, Martin decided to get out and see the world. And yes, Martin, yes.
Yeah.
He traveled first to Melbourne, then to Singapore, and in April of 94, he sold Helen's Copping Farm property, and then traveled to Melbourne again, then to Bangkok, London, Sweden, and LA.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was getting out there. He started off small, he just went to Melbourne, and then he just kept on going. So,
filling up that passport book.
All in all, in those 2 years, he traveled to Europe 6 times, the U.S. and Southeast Asia 3 times, and also to New Zealand and Japan. But Martin traveled to Melbourne the most to go to the zoo, which was his favorite. And same, because I love a damn zoo.
Oh my God, zoos, nothing makes me happier.
I made my husband take me to a zoo for our second date. Or third date.
Right.
I think he loved animals because animals loved him. Animals are loving creatures, and they're loyal, and they don't care if you're different or weird. So I bet that's why.
Well, and that's something that him and his BFF shared, Helen.
Yes.
They always had the animals in tow when they were going to brunch and whatnot. So
yeah, they're miniature ponies and shit.
Yeah. Good for him, though. Love that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, all the travel in the world couldn't mend Martin's broken heart, and later on he would admit that for him it wasn't so much about the destination, but more about the long plane rides in which he were next to people that had not much of a choice but to be friendly. They couldn't, you just have to have polite conversations. They're strapped in, can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's sad too. Which his interactions with these passengers were confirmed later by the passengers in police statements. That, they talked to him and, he just wouldn't quit talking or, whatever.
He was that guy on the airplane.
He was that guy. He was the screaming baby, okay?
I mean, sounds like it.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, it depends. I've been on flights where, I meet the coolest people.
Yeah.
And then I've been on flights where I'm like, please don't speak to me. It depends.
And it depends on what your mood you're in. If you were running late, it depends on a lot. But evidently, he did have some successful interactions with some of these people. And he was really quick to brag later on to police about them and, how he felt they went well. And so he had some people that would talk to him. So later on in 1995, Martin himself became suicidal. He stated, quote, "I just felt more people were against me. When I tried to be friendly toward them, they just walked away," end quote.
It's heartbreaking.
It is. Guys, don't kill yourselves. Please don't.
There's literally every other option.
Yes.
Do not.
Especially after, his dad and stuff. But I guess, he didn't really know what to do with his dad gone, how to make friends or how to be okay or, any of that. So I get it. It's just sad.
It is.
And don't get me wrong, guys. I realize that what Martin Bryant did is absolutely fucking horrific. He was also a person, and it makes me sad, any person, to do that. And I just really wish he had gotten the help that he needed, and we wouldn't even be here.
I feel like we say that every episode.
I know.
It's true.
I know, but it is true. I don't want anyone ever to think oh, I love this person. I think they're so cool and they killed a bunch of people. I don't.
No.
I just wish they would have gotten help and that their lives would be different and we didn't have them to talk about. That's what I wish.
Exactly.
Around this time is when Martin, who had rarely drank alcohol previously, he was a very light social drinker. Probably like me, I drink once or twice a year.
When I come visit.
That's right. But he started to become a heavier drinker. Although it should be noted he consumed 0 alcohol on the day he committed his crimes. He had no alcohol.
Okay.
He started drinking half a bottle of Sambuca.
Sambuca? What's that?
I don't know. Some Australian alcohol.
Oh, hold on.
Google it.
It's actually Italian.
Oh, okay. It's Italian alcohol. I'm not a drinker.
White Sambuca. Oh, it's like ouzo. Greek. You ever have ouzo?
No, I've never had ouzo.
Mess you up. It's like that. So I would compare it to a vodka.
Oh, okay. Okay. So he would drink half a bottle of that a day and a bottle of Bailey's Irish Cream a day. And he would sprinkle in port wine and other sweet alcoholic beverages here and there. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, a whole lot.
I drink, and that would put me on my ass.
Yeah. Along with the drinking and depression came the idea for Martin's horrible crimes. Martin said the idea of committing these crimes came to him anywhere between 4 to 12 weeks before he did it, and he spent all those weeks prior planning.
Oh, so this was heavily premeditated.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Most definitely. As to why he felt the urge to kill people, Martin's statements on motive have been conflicting. He told his neighbor, quote, "I'll do something that will make everyone remember me," end quote. Which I don't know. I feel like it's a mixture because his defense psychiatrist said, quote, "He followed Dunblane. His planning started with Dunblane. Before that, he was thinking about suicide, but Dunblane and the early portrayal of the killer Thomas Hamilton changed everything." Okay, and I know you're like, what the hell's Dunblane? Because I didn't know either.
Yeah, what's that?
Dunblane was a school massacre at an elementary school in Scotland on March 13th, 1996. It's the deadliest mass shooting in British history.
Oh, no.
And literally just a month later is when Martin committed his crimes. So I think he did want people to remember him. I think there's a lot of reasons. Okay, but I think he wanted people to remember him. And I also think he saw this guy getting a lot of media attention. And, Martin was definitely starved for attention. He wanted anyone to pay him attention. So I think it's a mixture, personally. But, he said all sorts of things.
If you're looking for ways to skip the trip to the post office and dodge all that hectic holiday shopping traffic, why not save time and money with Stamps.com? Stamps.com lets you compare rates, print labels, and access exclusive discounts on UPS and USPS services all year long. It just makes sense, especially if your business sends more mail and packages during the holidays. Whether you're selling online or running an office or even a side hustle like us, Stamps.com can save you so much time, money, and stress during the holidays. Access all the post office and UPS shipping services you need without taking the trip, and get discounts you can't find anywhere else, like up to 40% off USPS rates and 76% off UPS. Going to the post office instead of using Stamps.com is kind of like taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Just going up a couple of floors? Sure, take the stairs. Walking up 30 flights a day? You could use a break. If you spend more than just a few minutes a week dealing with mail and shipping, Stamps.com is a lifesaver. You'll save so much time and money, you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. Save time and money this holiday season with Stamps.com. Sign up with promo code POD for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter code POD. That's P-O-D POD. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
On April 28th, 1996, a little over a month, like I said, after Dunblane, 28-year-old Martin Bryant headed over to the Port Arthur Seascape Guest House, which is like a bed and breakfast.
Okay.
The elderly couple that owned this property, David and Noelle Lean, which I love that name.
What's that name?
Noelle Lean.
Noelle Lean?
Yeah, it's Noelle
I've
and then
never
Lean.
heard that.
Noelle Lean. I love
That's
it.
Pretty.
But she evidently did not, because she went by Sally.
Lame.
Yes, and their last name was Martin, so they were the owners of the property. They had bought this bed and breakfast, and Maurice had tried to buy this bed and breakfast previously.
Okay.
And I don't know if they had the highest bid, but they bought it. Maurice was unable to. And Maurice had previously complained to Martin that the Martins buying the bed and breakfast had done damage to their family. I think he meant financially, but Martin took this to mean that the Martins bought the B&B to deliberately hurt his family, which then caused Maurice to be depressed, which in turn eventually led to his father committing suicide. So he essentially blamed the Martins for his dad's death.
But he is creating this in his mind. This
Right,
is not
correct.
Exactly what
I mean,
happened.
obviously,
Okay.
Maurice was not happy. He complained about it a lot. They bought that and it's damaged our family. But to you and I, we'd both know, financially, that could have been a great asset to have, or would have been great to take vacations there. But Martin is like, my dad was depressed about something and he really can't figure out, or maybe he doesn't want to accept or has the emotional depth to realize it was, having to constantly care for Martin.
Yeah.
But, Martin didn't get that.
His view of the world in real life situations is completely different.
Yes. And I mean, I'm sure Maurice might have been a little depressed about that, but that's not what caused him to commit suicide.
That's definitely not.
I mean, he didn't even call Martin the night before he committed suicide, so I feel like that sends a pretty clear statement. So, Martin went to the guest house and he shot David and Sally to death. There's just a little elderly couple. So sad. Then he drove to Port Arthur, a historic site and former prisoner colony. He carried a large blue duffel bag into the Broad Arrow Cafe at the historical site. So they have where you can go and view stuff, a parking lot, and then a little cafe and gift shop. He sat down, he ordered some lunch, and he ate. I guess murder made him hungry. I can't imagine just going killing some old people and being let me go dine.
That should be the biggest red flag or the biggest sign that somebody is not mentally stable. Is
Right.
First off, them committing the crime, but then also following it up with, you know what, I could eat.
I could eat. Yeah, I could eat.
Obviously not very heavy on their conscience, what they just did.
No, not at all. I don't think. After he was done eating, he went to the rear of the cafe. He set up a video camera on an empty table and retrieved a Colt AR-15 SP1 carbine, which is a semi-automatic rifle. He placed it at his hip and started firing in every direction at customers and staff. In only 15 seconds, he had fired 17 shots, killing 12 people and wounding 10 others.
And he set up a camera to record it all.
Yeah, he set up a camera. Yeah. which I'm sure police have. I don't want to see that. But
Right, no, I don't either.
I mean, very quickly, like 17 shots, bam, 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 bam.
Mm-hmm.
He then walked to the front of the cafe, turned back around, and fired 12 more shots, killing 8 more people and injuring 2 more.
Oh my God.
Oh, we're not done. He then changed magazines and ran out to the parking lot shooting, jumped up in his yellow Volvo 244, rolled down the window, and as he drove off, he continued to shoot as he drove away.
Just to everyone and everything around him.
Yeah. He killed 4 additional people once he was outside and in his car, including 2 tour bus drivers, and injured an additional 6 people. He drove less than a half of a mile. And guys, this was like when I did kilometers to miles, it was like 0.13. Okay. So, I mean, it was a very short distance he drove.
Yeah.
He didn't go far.
Okay.
So he drove that distance down the road and he spotted a woman and her 2 kids. He stopped and he shot the mother and the child she was carrying, and they died instantly. And the older child, a girl, ran, but Martin followed this poor girl and killed her with a single shot.
Oh my God.
Like, what the fuck, Martin Bryant? What the literal fuck?
So this whole, like, seeking vengeance against the people who bought the bed and breakfast, but then going to this cafe and just,
No, I think that it was 2 separate reasons. Like, I feel like, he actually had some sort of make-believe beef with the bed and breakfast owners, and then the other stuff is literally so he can get the recognition and be remembered.
Yeah.
2 very different things, because he didn't know any of these people.
Literally innocent people.
Yeah, he didn't know these people at all. He then killed 4 passengers of a gold BMW and stole that car. He drove the BMW to a nearby gas station and pulled up next to a couple in a white Toyota. He pulled out his gun and forced the man that was in the passenger seat into the trunk. And then he fired 2 shots through the windshield, killing the female driver. He then took off in the Toyota with his hostage in the trunk and headed back to the Port Arthur Seascape guest house. Once he arrived at the bed and breakfast, he removed his hostage from the trunk and set the Toyota on fire. Like, why?
That's literally all I keep thinking is, like, why? Like, what is his end game here? What is he trying to do? Is he just going with whatever instinct and idea pops in his mind next?
Yeah, I think the massacre itself was probably very well thought out. Like, he planned it, Whereas, like, then after that, he, like, had a high from killing and just, like, wanted to get away. He knew he'd be seen in this car, so he was, like, trying to hop cars. Who the hell knows?
Like, what else can I do while I'm free?
Yeah, what other crimes can I commit today? He forced his hostage inside the house where the Martins lay dead. Police pulled up to the bed and breakfast not long after and began trying to negotiate with Martin for the release of his hostage. This went on for several hours until Martin's phone battery died. Martin's only demand had been to be flown in an army helicopter to an airport. That's the only thing he was like, that's what I guess he was wanting to get away.
Was this the Make-A-Wish Foundation for serial murderers or spree killers?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that. I guess he was like trying to like DB Cooper his way out of it. Unbeknownst to police, Martin actually had killed his hostage during negotiations, but they didn't know that. They had no way of knowing that. Martin's phone died. They couldn't be like, hey, let me speak to him,
Oh, so he had already killed him.
Yep, he killed him sometime during negotiations. 18 hours later, morning arrived. Martin set the bed and breakfast on fire and tried to escape while everybody was trying to put the fire out. But Martin burned his back and his butt, so he was captured. I don't even know how he did that. Like, I don't. So, he was captured by police and he was taken to nearby Royal... Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard.
I know. Look, it's not funny when people get burned, but this is pretty damn funny because this is a mass shooter. So
it. This, like, literally wants to go out in a blaze of glory and then, ow, I hurt myself. I need help. Like,
that's right.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
I mean, it might have been really bad. I don't know. They didn't say, like, 2nd degree, 3rd degree, just that he burned his back and butt. And so he was taken to nearby Royal Hobart Hospital for treatment and was heavily guarded, understandably so.
I sure as hell hope so.
Altogether, Martin Bryant killed 35 innocent people and injured 23 in his sadistic shooting rampage.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot of people.
That's a fuck ton of people. Like, my God, man. I just don't understand. Like, I know you were an outcast in this world and you were sad and you were depressed. You had mental struggles. Like, I get that. But, dude, you can't just go around shooting people.
No.
Martin's interrogations by police, they'll make you sick to your stomach. Like, they really will. He kind of seems like relaxed. He often smiles and kind of like lightly laughs occasionally. Giggles is not the right word, just like, you know. And like, they start off asking him, like, walk me through this day.
Yeah.
He would talk and he was cooperative. I don't want to say he was like uncooperative, but it was like, it's just creepy. Like
he thinks it's like a game.
Yeah, like he doesn't understand the ramifications of what the fuck he's done is what's popping off here. And he's loving the attention. Like, he definitely loves the attention. And you can see that. We'll link a video from 7 News in Australia that shows his interviews, as well as interviews with his lawyer, psychiatrist, and girlfriend at the time.
He had a girlfriend?
He did. But I did not include her in the story because A, they hadn't been in a relationship very long at all. And B, in the clip, she had requested her identity be concealed.
Oh.
Understandably.
Well, this is a struggle for me because obviously in part 1, you did a very good job of humanizing him. Is that the word? Like making it like this is his intellect, this is his psychology, this is the background.
Right.
But then now hearing all the horrible things he did, I'm really struggling to remember that. Like he just sounds like an asshole. I feel very conflicted.
That's why I did the psychology first, because I want people to have that backstory. But it's conflicting. It's very conflicting. I mean, he did like the most horrific thing. Like, I can't get past it, but it's also like, this man had serious issues, you know?
Yeah.
In an examination after the massacre, psychiatrist Ian Joblin found Martin to be borderline mentally disabled with an IQ of 66, which is equivalent to an 11-year-old. Despite this finding, Martin was deemed fit to stand trial, and his trial was set for November 7th, 1996. While he was awaiting trial, Martin was examined by a court-appointed psychiatrist named Ian Sale, so 2 different Ians.
I'm honestly shocked that they cleared him. I know it's a really heavy, deep thing, and it's difficult, and not many people do, but I just feel like he's a special case.
I know. No, I really couldn't quite understand that either. I mean, obviously he needs to be somewhere for life, period. But he was cleared. Dr. Sales said of Martin Bryant, quote, could be regarded as having shown a mixture of conduct disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity, and a condition known as Asperger's syndrome, end quote. Martin's legal team requested a second opinion, and so psychiatrist Paul Mullen was hired, and he found that Martin was socially and intellectually impaired and that Martin did not have schizophrenia. Dr. Mullen said, quote, though Mr. Bryant was clearly a distressed and disturbed young man, he was not mentally ill. And I just don't even understand how that lines up. Yeah, no, it doesn't line up for me at all. Like, what?
He's clearly mentally ill.
He is clearly very mentally ill and has been his whole life. If it were like, oh, in recent years, or like clearly he lived this normal life and out of nowhere had a mental break, it might be different, but this man literally has been this way from the day he came out of the damn womb.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Sure. Martin's trial began on November 7th, 1996. He initially pled not guilty, but his court-appointed lawyer, John Avery, persuaded Martin to plead guilty to all charges. And if you watch that interview that I said we're going to link, it's kind of bizarre. Martin really thought his lawyer was his friend, not his lawyer. And it kind of made his lawyer feel really bad. It kind of creeped him out. And he says that in that interview much more eloquently than I just did. But
yeah,
like, it really was a mind fuck for him to like be with this kid.
I can imagine.
I say kid, but young adult. And he wasn't getting it. He wasn't getting what he did. He wasn't getting the ramifications. Like, it's interesting. So he got him to plead guilty to all charges, which I am certain, obviously, like, you did
this ain't no unsolved case.
No, it is not. 2 weeks later, Hobart Supreme Court Judge William Cox sentenced Martin Bryant to 35 life sentences, one for each person he killed, plus 1,652 years in prison without the possibility of parole to be served concurrently.
I wholeheartedly agree.
That's their maximum sentence. They don't do the death penalty, so.
Way to go, Judge.
I don't know what the 1,652 years, but it's basically just saying, like, all of his life, he'll be in prison. For his first 8 months in prison, he was held in a special-built suicide prevention cell in almost solitary confinement. I guess he was around other people for like a short period of time during the day, like to prevent him from losing it and feeling very isolated. Mentally, obviously, they're aware he has some issues. He remained in protective custody until November 13th, 2006, when he was moved to Hobart's Wilfred Lopez Center, which is a secure mental health unit run by the Tasmanian Department of Health and Human Services. This unit is only for those with severe mental illnesses. It has 35 beds and is fully staffed with doctors, nurses, and support staff. In this unit, inmates can come and go from their cells, just their cells though, not like come and go from the facility. The outside of the facility is heavily patrolled by contracted guards. Martin tried twice to take his own life, once on March 25th, 2007 by cutting his wrist with a razor blade, and the second time was only 2 days later on March 27th when he tried to cut his throat this time. The second attempt actually landed him in the hospital for a while, like it seriously injured him. Where is Martin Bryant today? He is currently incarcerated at a maximum security prison near Hobart called Risdon Prison, and while he's been at Risdon, he has been formally diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. The senseless and horrific tragedy took 35 innocent lives, injured others, and all of Australia mourned and were in shock. While this massacre should have never happened, Australia wanted to make sure nothing like this ever happened again. As a response to this massacre, Australian state and territory governments placed extensive restrictions on all firearms, from semi-automatic rifles to low-capacity repeating shotguns. At first, there was some controversy over these gun laws, but that passed as media coverage of the massacre grew, and so did the public opinions. Like, nope, never again is this shit happening. There's also a lot of criticism around the media coverage around Martin right after the shooting. Some photos were photoshopped to make him look wild or angry. You know, like, I just imagine Charles Manson when I read that. You know, like,
yeah, I got the crazy eyes.
Crazy eyes, yeah. And like, they didn't really even know how these people got the photographs either, so that was kind of sketchy. And the director of public prosecutions came out and warned the media that doing such things could compromise Martin's rights to a fair trial, and wrote writs, which writs is like, it's similar to a written like cease and desist, like
enough already,
stop your shit, you know,
yeah.
Like almost like a little ticket kind of, yeah. And he wrote these writs to the Australian, the Hobart Mercury, who used a picture of Martin under the headline, quote, "This is the man," end quote.
What?
Yep. Which, I mean, like, this is the man who killed, but you know, Martin read that like,
you're giving him exactly what he wants.
Yeah. Somebody did not think that through. They also issued writs to The Age and the ABC. In November 2020, it was announced that an online streaming platform planned to make a movie about Martin's life, but that they would film it in Geelong instead of Tasmania due to the still raw emotion from the massacre there, which I thought, like, first off, ain't nobody need to be making a movie about him, but second off, like,
it's gonna happen, yeah.
That's really respectful and would never fucking happen here. But I think that speaks volumes that, like, all these years later, obviously this is still, like, really raw and a hurtful event. Yeah. And topic in Australians' lives, and understandably so. The Broad Arrow Cafe and the environment around it have been turned into a memorial and a place of reflection. And that is the devastating story of the Port Arthur Massacre and the man behind this tragedy. Our thoughts are with the victims of this and their families.
What a bummer.
I'm telling you, though, it's awful.
I get it now. You were like, I just want to be done with this. And I'm like, what? I just want to hear it.
Yeah,
well, I'm like, I get it. I didn't even research it.
This entire story put me in such a dark headspace. And I wasn't even there for this. This didn't happen to me. Like, just deep diving into this, to the psychology, to the events, to the victims. Like, I mean, it's probably the darkest story for me personally that I've ever told.
Well, and I think I've said this before to clarify, like, one murder is not better or worse than another. No. Like, someone losing their life sucks all around, but yes, like something about mass shootings gets to my soul in a way that like other crimes do not.
Well, it's like no rhyme or reason. It's just like random shooting
with a bunch of innocent people.
Yeah.
And like, it just, ugh.
And like a lot of times people kill for a reason. Is it a sane reason? No. But they kill for a reason, or they have a ritual, or like, things like that. And you're like, oh, okay. This, like, it doesn't make sense, but I see this is why. You don't with mass shootings, and I don't in this situation. And I just, as so many cases, I feel like if this man had gotten proper mental health care and had some inpatient care and...
Well, and then Australia, they did the psychiatric evals, got the results, and then no follow-up.
That's the people I want to have words with. That's the people I want to have words with, because if parents are not strong enough or can't bring themselves to make those decisions for their kids, then they need to be the bad guys and be like, you know what? He talks about shooting people, which he did. He's got problems and we need to get him help, and they need to take control over it. A death that could have been prevented, 35 deaths that could have been prevented. I feel like that's the real tragedy of this story.
Love our podcast? Then hit that subscribe button and leave us a review.
We're also on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/truecrimebuzz and join today for access to all our exclusive content, including bonus episodes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at TC Buzz Podcast.
And check out our website at www.truecrimebuzz.com.
Until next time,
Cheers!